Thanks for joining us today in the studio. My name's Carolyn Ketchel, County Commissioner for Okaloosa County, and with me is my dear friend, Superintendent Marcus Chambers. We're very excited to have you with us today. What an opportunity for me to get an opportunity to speak with you.
No, absolutely, and I couldn't be more honored to be here and discuss our schools with you.
You've got so many good things happening in the schools. Tell us a little bit about some of the construction projects and innovations and things you've been able to put in place, especially because our wonderful voters gave us the half-penny sales tax.
So it's, I'd have to say it's a game changer for Okaloosa County schools. And you go back 3 years ago, and we had some of the oldest buildings. We didn't have a lot of renovations going on, not a lot of construction, the oldest bus fleet in the state of Florida. And now in 3 years' time, just highlighting on a few things, for example, we have about 19 projects happening across 15 schools.
Wow.
And what does that mean? We're building classroom additions, we're building new cafeterias, and we're building multi-purpose buildings. So many schools on all parts of the county are getting much needed upgrades, but also we're looking at pavement is occurring. We're looking at bathrooms are being renovated. You go over to Longwood Elementary, the whole school has been redone. So much has happened that would not have been able to happen without the half-cent sales tax.
You know, our most precious asset is our children. And why would we ever want to put them in the oldest bus fleet in the state of Florida? So how wonderful that we've got updated buses that are safer, that I think even have safety belts now. Is that true?
They do. And you go back to the oldest bus fleet. So we now have a bus replacement program versus just buying one or two buses. So we have about 160 buses in the fleet. And at the end of this year, we will have replaced 91 of them. So 91 wonderful. New buses in 3 years' time. So that's a direct blessing for our students, but also the bus drivers and aides that are on those buses.
Tell us some of the things, the most exciting thing that's coming up that you can see that we're changing stadiums or classrooms, or what do you like the best?
Well, I think just first of all, we weren't able to do anything besides patch many of the buildings or roofs. But now as you go through our county that people don't necessarily see, we're actually fixing roofs completely. We're not patching them, we're fixing the roofs. We're able to, like I shared, we're doing classroom additions, such as Crestview High School, for example. They have an 8 classroom addition that's going in over there, a multi-purpose building, cafeteria expansion. They're getting a new parking area for the students that's much needed. You go over to Laurel Hill. Laurel Hill's getting a 4 classroom addition and a multi-purpose building expansion. So those are just a couple examples, but none of these things were able to happen. You look at our schools, the vast majority of them are either at capacity or over capacity.
So true.
So these new buildings that are being created are adding additional capacity, but in the year 2026, we'll be opening up our first new school since 2007.
Oh, and where will that be located?
So that'll be in the Crestview area. It'll be alongside the bypass. So a 1,200 student school, a kindergarten through grade 8. And so what will that do? Well, first of all, it'll be a new school. But then secondly, that's going to impact every elementary in the Crestview area, in both middle schools in the Crestview area. So it's going to add capacity to those schools.
And so needed. I've been fortunate to see the new Crestview bypass and actually tour it. And folks are not going to believe what's going to happen when the trees come down and the road is suddenly there. They're going to be just stunned. So I think this is a good time for us to say that there are 2 half-penny sales tax, one for the school system and one for the county. There is a little bit of overlap because some of the things we're putting into place, for instance, we can use ours for public safety. And the Sheriff's Office asked us to enhance the communication system so that in the event of an emergency, ever, here in Okaloosa County, all systems are talking to each other, whether it's EMS or the school system or the Sheriff's Department or the county. So it's very important that we can communicate.
No, I think that is critically important, and I just want to thank you and the other county commissioners, our sheriff, for that endeavor. But I would say even the communication that's currently in place is strong. As you may know, November 3rd, we had a scare at one of our, two of our schools, and actually it turned into about 3 or 4 of our schools where we had a hoax call where someone made a threat. And I'll say the quick response of the sheriff and the other municipalities to get to Baker, to get to Crestview High School, to get to Davidson and the other surrounding schools was quick, it was swift. The amount of officers that came to our schools in support was overwhelming in a great way. So again, when people talk about the safety of schools, you have to have layers, and then you have to have, in my opinion, communication between the school district, the county commissioners, the sheriff's office, and others. But that was an example on that day where I couldn't have been more proud, where everybody came together for the safety of our students.
That's so wonderful. And, you know, in addition to that, we've been able to put sidewalks in place. Now, people used to call and say, we need a sidewalk by the school or in our neighborhood. It's still a little difficult, but if there's a school, we put it to the top of the list. And we're able to enhance that. I think there was one just put in by Old Bethel Road, if I'm correct. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so, and that makes a difference for our school children to be able to walk home safely. Before, we had to wait for leftover money from transportation. Now with the surtax, we're able to put in enhanced sidewalks. We also have been able to do a lot of interesting things in the county with the surtax money. For instance, we have 23 projects that are underway right now. Many of them are enhanced projects that will allow water access for those who want recreation. We've been able to put in roads. Of course, the bypass was a phenomenal effort because Crestview allocated their surtax money. We put our money towards it, and then the state of Florida came in with money. So now we have this massive project going that's going to really help traffic flow, and we know that's a big problem.
It's just a great time for Okaloosa.
It
when
is.
You look at all the projects that you're doing on the county side. You look at all the different ways that we're now changing what our school buildings look like, getting into new school construction. I think there's so much that's happening here in our county, and I think it's going to be a benefit for our citizens and those who want to come either visit or play here as well.
And live here. It's making it very livable. Now, I know a lot of people who listen to this will say, geez, I remember when there weren't so many tourists. But you have to remember those tourism development dollars help us enhance the things that you love to use, like parks. But in addition to that, they pay part of this surtax, yes. A lot of this surtax. So Superintendent Chambers, I continue to see that we continue to do so well with our A+ schools, A rating. And that always makes me happy. And I know that we have the highest PhD level in the state of Florida, which helps because a lot of our parents are very educated. Talk a little bit about your schools and how you continue to succeed to have such great schools.
Well, I'm glad you said the A+, because we talk about ourselves as being an A+ school district. And why do we say A+? Because it's about academics, the arts, and athletics. It's those 3 things coming together to help our students. And I would like to say, when you look at our arts, some of the best band, chorus, and theater programs around. You look at our athletics, and we're actually winning state championships, district championships. So I couldn't be more proud because they go into the whole student and
Yes,
making a difference also on the academic side. And then, of course, the state of Florida ranking us an A district again. That's on the hard work of our teachers, staff, and administrators, and I just could not be more proud.
Thank you for being here today.
Yes, ma'am.
Superintendent, and thanks for all that you're doing. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.